Hello friends, welcome back to Channel NEET. Today we are going to continue with the chapter that is known as biological classification. Today is lecture number 7 and we are dealing with the topic that is known as kingdom Monera. In previous videos regarding kingdom Monera, we have covered about the history, general characteristics, and we are discussing about the classification of kingdom Monera. We have already completed about Archaebacteria, Actinomycetes, Rickettsia, Chlamydia and Mycoplasm. The link will be given in the I button. Now in today's video we are going to continue with the topic that is known as Eubacteria. So let us start with the topic that is known as Eubacteria in details. So let us start with the first point. There were many bases of classification, many bases of classification of Eubacteria. So we are going to see all the aspects of classification with regard to the Eubacteria. The first aspect of classification was the size. The second aspect of classification was the shape. The third aspect of classification was cell wall. The fourth aspect of classification was flagella. So for understanding Eubacteria very properly, we should understand about size, shape, cell wall and flagella very properly. So now we'll look at each of these points in details, okay, with respect to Eubacteria. Okay, so we are going to start with the first point that is known as the size of Eubacteria. So now let us start with the first point, that is with respect to the size of Eubacteria in details. Let us go with the first point. The average size of Eubacteria is 1.25 μm. Second, smallest bacteria so the name of the smallest bacteria is Dialister pneumocystis. So this is the smallest bacteria. Its size is near about 0.15 μm. See, the longest bacteria is named as Spirillum Laidlaw. The size of this bacterium is near about 600 μm. Let's see the next point. Largest bacteria is Bacillus Burchellii. The size of this bacteria is near about 800 μm. Let us see the next point. Largest sulfur bacteria is sulfur bacteria is named as Theophysa volutans. The size of this bacterium is 18 mu m. So you should recall this. So let us now just quickly revise the name with respect to U bacteria. The average size of these U bacteria is near about 0.25 mu m. Smallest bacteria which we are aware is that Dialister pneumonosintes, which has a size near about 0.15 mu m. This bacteria is found in nasopharynx region. The longest form of bacteria that we can see is the spiral shaped bacteria, and the name is Spirillum laidlaw. The size is near about 600 mu m. Largest bacteria what we are aware is Bacillus bushleyi, and it is near about 800 mu m. The largest sulfur bacteria that we are aware is named as Thiophysa volutus, and the size of the bacteria is near about 18 mu m. Now we will see up the next point with respect to U bacteria, that is the shape of U bacteria. So let us now see the next classification with respect to U bacteria, and that is with respect to the shape of U bacteria in details. See the first point, Ferdinand Julius Kohn has first given the classification of bacteria depending upon their shape. So now we'll see the shape that he has discovered in bacteria. Ferdinand Kohn has discovered 5 shapes, and the shapes are as follows. First was cocci, second was bacillus, third spirillum, fourth was vibrio, fifth was pleomorphic. Cocci means circular, bacillus is a rod shaped structure, spirillum will give you a spiral shaped structure, vibrio will give you comma shaped structure, and pleomorphic will give you different structure. Cocci, which means circular, will be appearing something like this. Either they will be appearing single, or they might be appearing in groups, or either in the chain form. So this could be the appearance of the cocci. Rod shape will be appearing in this particular format, a bit rod shaped bacterias, and they also can form the chains of rod, something like this. Spiral shape is very easy. They will be appearing as spiral shape in this particular format. Comma shape is like a comma, so the appearance will be like this, and they have different shape, they might vary in shape. Fine. So these are few shapes that was discovered by Ferdinand Julian Kohn. So let us just quickly revise some important points now. Okay, Eubacteria showed the second classification in the form of shape, and the person who had done that was Ferdinand Julius Kohn. He was a German biologist, and he has classified bacteria on the basis of their shape. He has majoritarily given the 5 shapes that we are going to discuss. So the first classification that he has given is the cocci, which means circular. So this becomes Micrococcus, this becomes Diplococcus, this becomes Streptococcus. Fine. So Micrococcus is 1, Diplococcus you will be seeing 2, and Strepto will be a chain. Next is Bacillus, which is a rod shape. So you can see the rod shape appearance over here. Okay, so the first Diplobacillus, Microbacillus, it could be Diplobacillus, this could be Streptobacillus. The third is the spiral shape, which will be appearing in the form of spiral. The fourth is the comma or the Vibrio shape. The fifth is the pleomorphic shape, which will be of the different shape and sizes, which is seen in Azotobacter or Cyanobacter. Now we will see of the classification that is based on the cell wall with respect to Eubacteria. So let us now see the next classification of Eubacteria depending upon the cell wall. So let us see, depending upon the cell wall, the classification criteria for Eubacteria. Let us see the first point. In year 1884, Danish bacteriologist named Christian Gram developed staining properties in bacteria because of the cell wall Second point, he divided bacteria into two groups. First, gram positive bacteria, and the second was gram negative bacteria. So for the classification of Eubacteria, depending upon the cell wall in 1884, Danish bacteriologist named as Christian Gram, the name is very important, we also call it as Gram staining, develop an staining property. Staining means coloring properties to a bacteria. Now why the bacteria could develop the color to themselves is because of their cell wall. You should remember this, because of their cell wall. Gram divided bacteria into two types, gram positive and gram negative bacteria. Let's see the distinguishing point between both of them. So let us see the third point about gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria. So let us discuss about positive and the negative bacteria. Gram positive bacteria stains with crystal violet. Gram negative bacteria stains with safranin. Let us see the second point. Cell wall is near about 50 nanometer thick. Let us see the second point. Cell wall near about 10 nanometer thick. Let us see the third. Here, cell wall is less complex. Whenever we are going to say it is less complex, it means it has maximum of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan, which is near about 95% and 5 to 10% proteins. So the complexity is very low in gram positive bacteria. Let us see the third point over here. Cell wall is more complex. It has different component such as peptidoglycan, glycan, which is near about 10%, phospholipid, lipopolysaccharide. So you have different component for making up the cell wall, but here the cell wall is very simple. So let us now just quickly revise the properties with respect to cell wall of gram positive and gram negative bacteria. They have the staining property, and the staining is done by crystal violet in gram positive, and it is done with safranin in gram negative bacteria. Here the cell wall is near about 50 nanometer thick, and here the cell wall is near about 10 nanometer thick. Cell wall here is less complex, it means it is simple. Cell wall here is simple since it has maximum peptidoglycan. This is very important. Here the cell wall has peptidoglycan maximum, and it has 5 to 10% of the proteins too. Whereas in gram negative bacteria, the cell wall is more complex. It is more complex. Okay, it has peptidoglycan, but it is only consisting of 10%. Of the component of cell wall are like phospholipid and polysaccharides. Now we'll see of the classification with regard to the flagella that is present on the eubacteria. So let us now discuss the last discussion point of classification with respect to eubacteria regarding flagella. So we'll see the topic flagella in details. So let us see the first point. In year 1675, Anton von Leeuwenhoek discovered cilia and flagella. Let us see the second point. In year 1967, micrographs were discovered of flagella, and the scientists which has discovered these micrographs are Cohen, so let us now discuss the diagram which was given by Cohen Bazir regarding flagella in 1967. So let us now see the diagram of flagella in detail that was given by Cohen. So it is a tube-like diagram which you can make out, which has a broader second part, you can see a small notch, and there is a continuation of one more rod-like structure. Now let us see the parts of flagella. The first part we call it as filament. The second part we call it as hook. So the third part over here is the base. So at the base you can see some ring formation. Something like this. Close to it you can see one more ring formation. Something like this. In the middle you can see one more ring formation. You can make out the third ring which I am drawing. It appears something like this. And on the top there is one more ring. Which will be looking like this. So you can see there are 4 rings in the base aspect. So these both rings are proximal rings. Proximal means close. And this ring is distal ring. Distal means far. The first proximal ring to the base is known as M ring. The second proximal ring what you can see is known as S ring. The third proximal ring what you can see is called as P ring, and the fourth proximal ring what you can see over here, which is the distal one, we call it as L ring. So you have to remember that this base region is always attached to cell membrane of a bacteria. So they are always attached to cell membrane of bacteria. Base attaches to the cell membrane of an bacteria. So generally this is the diagram of flagella that we can see. It has three parts. The first is the base, second is the hook, the third is the filament. In base you can see all types of ring which are present in flagella. So let us now see some important points with respect to flagella. First point, size of flagella could be near about 70 mu m. Second point, flagella is made up of protein that is known as flagellin. Third point, it has three parts: base, hook and the filament, which you are already aware. Fourth point, hook is connected to base, by a flagellin protein. So let us see where is the flagellin. So if you can see a protein that I am drawing currently over here to connect the both. This particular hook is connected to a base by this particular component, what we call it as flagellin. The size of flagellin protein is near about 40 to 50 Armstrong unit. So let us now discuss about the fifth point, about gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria. This point what I am discussing is very important. In gram positive bacteria, L ring is absent, whereas in gram negative bacteria, L ring is present. So let us see. If you can see this particular ring, we call it as L ring. So this particular ring is absent in gram positive bacteria and it is present in gram negative bacteria. So let us now quickly revise the important points. The size of flagella is near about 70 mu m. Flagella is made up of a protein that is known as flagellin. So this again is an important point. Flagella is made up of base, hook and filament. So these are the three particular parts of the flagella. As you are already understood that hook is attached with the base. So this is the hook and this is the base, and through this particular flagellin it is connected by a protein with a length of 40 to 50 Armstrong. Fifth point, considering a gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria, the L ring is absent in gram positive bacteria and L ring is present in gram negative bacteria. Now we will see of the classification of bacteria depending upon the number of flagella present on them. So let us now understand the types of bacteria depending upon the flagella present. So the first is appearing as a rod-like structure, a bit circular in structure, a bacilli-like structure. It appears like worm, elongated structure, a bulge structure, a swollen bulge structure which we can make out. You can have flagella like this. You can have flagella arrangement like this. You can have the flagella arrangement like this too. And you can have flagella arrangement like this. So depending upon the location of flagella, where the flagella is present and in what form, we can name the types of bacteria. In this particular diagram, you cannot see any flagella. We call it as A. trichus. You have only one flagella over here. We call this as monotrichus. See, you can see flagella only at the top. Loptotrichus. You can see the flagella which are present on both the side. We call this as amphitrichus. You can see the flagella which are present all over the body. We call it as peritrichus. So let us just see quickly the names. Okay, where there is no flagella, we call it as A. trichus. You can see a single flagella, we call it as monotrichus. When you can see flagella are attached to one side, we call it as loptotrichus. When you can see flagella are attached to both the side, we call it as amphitrichus. And when it is present all over the body, we call it as peritrichus. So here we have completed the topic regarding flagella. We have also covered the topic regarding bacteria in details. So we'll stop up here today. Hope you liked today's video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.